First Contact's Price Colonel Sarah Chen stood at the edge of what used to be Shanghai, her boot resting on a chunk of alien metal still warm from atmospheric entry. 6 months ago, this had been one of Earth's proudest cities. Now it was a graveyard of human and alien architecture, twisted together in apocalyptic sculptures that stretched to the horizon. "Any change in the orbital signatures?" she asked, not looking back at the young lieutenant who had approached. "No, Colonel. The remaining Meridian ships are still retreating. Trajectory suggests they're heading back to whatever system they came from." Chen nodded, finally turning away from the ruins. Her face, once soft with academic curiosity, she'd been an astrophysicist before the invasion, was now all hard angles and scar tissue. A reminder of humanity's first alien encounter etched permanently into her flesh. "They never expected us to win," she said quietly. The lieutenant, Williams, fresh-faced despite everything, looked uncertain. "We didn't win, Colonel. Not really. 2 billion dead. Every major city in ruins. Most of our infrastructure. We're still here." Chen cut him off. "That's more than they planned for." The Meridian Collective had arrived 8 months ago, their massive ships eclipsing the moon as they took position around Earth. There had been no communication, no demands, just immediate, overwhelming force. Their weapons had turned cities to ash in seconds. Their ground forces had marched through military installations as if they were made of paper. The governments of Earth had fallen within days. The organized military response had collapsed within weeks. But then something unexpected happened. Humanity refused to surrender. Chen's comm unit buzzed. "Colonel, the general needs you at command immediately." The voice belonged to Major Rivera, the general's aide. "They've found something in the crashed Meridian mothership." Command was a repurposed bunker beneath the ruins of Beijing, originally built during the Cold War and hastily retrofitted when conventional military headquarters proved too easy for the Meridians to target. As Chen made her way through the cramped corridors, scientists and soldiers moved with urgent purpose, carrying fragments of alien technology. General Omar Hakimi looked up as Chen entered the central command room. In his late 60s, Hakimi had been retired when the invasion began. Now he was effectively the military leader of what remained of the United Asian Alliance, one of the few governmental structures still functioning. "Chen, good. You need to see this." He gestured to a holographic display where Dr. Eliza Morris, their lead xenotechnologist, was examining what appeared to be an alien navigation system. "We've cracked their communication protocols," Morris said without preamble. "And more importantly, we've accessed their mission parameters." Chen's heart quickened. What did they want? Why attack us? Morris tapped the display, bringing up alien, text that shifted and resolved into English. "Standard Resource Acquisition Protocol. We were scheduled for complete population reduction and planetary strip mining." Her voice was clinical, but her hands trembled slightly. "According to their records, this is the 47th such operation they've conducted." Hakimi's face darkened. "They've done this before, wiped out entire civilizations." "Yes," Morris confirmed, "but there's something else." She tapped again, bringing up comparison charts. The Meridians expected the conquest to take approximately 72 Earth hours. Total victory, minimal casualties on their side. She looked up, a glint of fierce pride in her eyes. "Instead, we held out for 8 months and destroyed nearly 60% of their invasion force." Chen studied the alien assessment reports. "They underestimated us." "Catastrophically," Morris agreed. "Their species evolved in environments with minimal predators and abundant resources. Their entire civilization developed without significant conflict. They've never encountered a species that evolved as we did, through constant competition, adaptation, and survival against the odds. They've never met predators before," Hakimi summarized grimly. "Exactly. And now they're terrified." Morris brought up another display showing the retreat vectors of the remaining Meridian ships. "They're running back to report that Earth is much more dangerous than expected." Chen's mind raced with the implications. "They'll be back, with reinforcements." "Perhaps," Hakimi said. "But we have something now that we didn't have before." He gestured to the surrounding room, where teams were disassembling and studying pieces of Meridian technology. "Understanding. and time. Morris nodded excitedly. Their technology is advanced, but the principles are comprehensible. We're already making progress on their propulsion systems, weapons, and communications. Given enough time— How much time? Chen interrupted. Morris hesitated. Based on their communication chatter, we estimate 8 to 10 months before they could mount another invasion force. Hakimi turned to a world map, most of it marked in red to indicate devastation. Then we have work to do. Chen, I need you to head our new adaptation division. Your background in physics and your combat experience make you uniquely qualified. Adaptation division? We're going to take their technology and improve it, Hakimi said. Morris's team has already determined that Meridian weapons are designed for efficiency and precision, not raw destructive power. They never imagined they'd need to innovate in the middle of a conquest. And we're going to show them what happens when you back humans into a corner, Chen concluded. Exactly. Hakimi pulled up imagery of construction already beginning amid the ruins of major cities worldwide. Every surviving nation has agreed, this is no longer about borders or ideologies. This is about the survival of our species. The next 6 months transformed what remained of human civilization. The ruins of cities became laboratories and factories. Captured Meridian technology was dissected, understood, and repurposed. Weapons designed for surgical precision were reconfigured for maximum devastation. Communication systems meant for simple command structures were expanded to create a global defense network. Chen's adaptation division became the heart of humanity's technological renaissance. Scientists who had once competed now collaborated across former national boundaries. Engineers who had built smartphones now constructed targeting systems for plasma cannons. Factories that had produced luxury cars now manufactured armored exoskeletons and orbiting Earth, a network of defense. Platforms took shape, built from the hulls of defeated Meridian vessels. Humanity was changing too. The invasion had broken down the barriers that had divided nations for centuries. The survivors, regardless of former nationality, religion, or ideology, united in their determination never to be victims again. Exactly. 7 months after the Meridian retreat, orbital sensors detected new signatures at the edge of the solar system. Chen was in the middle of overseeing a weapons test when the alert came. The prototype they were testing, a modified Meridian particle beam with human innovations, had just vaporized a tank with unsettling efficiency. "They're early," she said, reviewing the data on her tablet. Hakimi's voice came through her comm. "Unit. The signatures don't match Meridian configurations. These ships are different, bigger, more heavily armed." Chen felt a chill. "They brought friends." "Looks that way. Report to Central Command immediately. It's time to implement the Threshold Protocol." The Threshold Protocol had been controversial when first proposed. Many had argued for attempting communication, for trying to establish peaceful contact, but the memory of 2 billion dead had silenced most objections. Earth would not be caught unprepared again. As the alien fleet approached Earth orbit, they were met not with communication attempts, but with humanity's answer to their aggression. The defense platforms activated simultaneously, firing weapons that the Meridians would have recognized as their own, but supercharged beyond their original specifications. The first volley destroyed 20% of the approaching fleet. From Command, Chen watched the orbital battle unfold. The alien ships, a mix of Meridian vessels and others of unknown configuration, seemed stunned by the ferocity of Earth's response. Their formation broke apart as they scrambled to return fire. "They expected to find us broken," Hakimi observed, standing beside her. "They thought they'd return to a defenseless planet still licking its wounds. Instead, they found us waiting," Chen replied. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the alien fleet had been reduced to debris floating in Earth orbit. Only one ship remained, a Meridian command vessel deliberately spared by the defense grid. "Are we broadcasting?" Hakimi asked the communications officer. "Yes, General. All frequencies translated into their language patterns." Hakimi stepped forward. Though his uniform was immaculate, his eyes carried the weight of 8 months of desperate struggle and billions of lives lost. When he spoke, his voice was measured but implacable. This message is for whoever sent you. Whoever thought Earth would be an easy conquest. Whoever believed humans would submit to extinction without a fight. He paused, letting his words transmit across the void. You were wrong. On screens throughout command, they could see the lone Meridian ship, surrounded by the wreckage of its fleet. You came to our world uninvited. You slaughtered our people. You expected us to fall easily. Hakimi's voice hardened. Instead, we took your weapons and made them better. We studied your ships and improved them. We adapted in months what took you centuries to develop. The general stepped closer to the transmission array, his expression resolute. This is humanity's one and only warning to the galaxy. Earth seeks no war. Earth desires no conquest. Leave us in peace and you will find us peaceful. His eyes narrowed slightly. Attack us again, and your civilization will cease to exist. This is not a threat. This is not a negotiation. This is a promise. Hakimi gestured, and the communications officer ended the transmission. A moment later, the defense grid allowed the lone Meridian ship to break orbit and retreat at full speed. Do you think they'll listen? Chen asked quietly. Hakimi watched the ship disappear into the darkness of space, carrying humanity's warning to whoever waited beyond the stars. Some will, he said. Others will see it as a challenge. His gaze remained fixed on the view screen where Earth turned slowly below, its scars visible even from orbit. Either way, we'll be ready. In the vast emptiness between stars, the Meridian vessel raced away from Earth, carrying with it humanity's unambiguous message to the cosmos. And on the distant world that humans would one day know as Thanatos Prime, Grand Admiral Kelvar of the Kraken Imperium received the transmission with growing interest. The Meridians were fools, he said to his assembled commanders, watching the human general's warning replay. But perhaps their failure will be our opportunity. He paused the transmission on an image of Earth, battle-scarred but defiant. Prepare the fleet, he ordered, and contact the Singularity Division. Tell them to accelerate the Nemesis project. These humans need to be studied, and then eliminated. The warning 3 months after humanity's decisive victory over the second invasion force, the landscape of Earth had changed dramatically. The ruins of old cities were being reclaimed by new structures, some purely human in design, others incorporating the angular efficiency of Meridian architecture. Defense platforms ringed the planet, their weapons arrays constantly vigilant for any approach. In what had once been Geneva, now rebuilt as Unity City, Dr. Eliza Morris stood before the newly formed Earth Defense Council, comprised of leaders from all surviving major nations. The reverse engineering process continues to exceed expectations, she reported, gesturing to the holographic displays surrounding her. We've fully adapted their FTL communication systems. The warning we sent with the surviving Meridian ship has been supplemented by direct transmissions to every corner of explored space. Council Chairperson Amara Okafor, formerly Nigeria's defense minister, leaned forward. And we're certain these transmissions are being received? Yes, Morris confirmed. We've detected acknowledgement signals from at least 17 distinct civilizations. The galaxy has heard us. And how are they responding? Asked Councillor Zhang, representing the Asian Alliance. Morris's expression grew more serious. That's where things get complicated. She brought up a new display showing signal patterns across mapped regions of space. We're detecting increased communication traffic between several major civilizations. Our translation algorithms are still limited, but certain terms appear consistently. Human threat, containment protocols, and preemptive measures. A murmur ran through the assembled leaders. They're preparing for war, General Hakimi stated flatly from his position at the table. Some are, Morris agreed, but not all. Several civilizations appear to be advocating for observation or even diplomatic contact. Okafor's expression remained composed, but her eyes hardened. Then we must accelerate our preparations. We made a promise in that warning and we must be ready to keep it. Colonel Chen, recently promoted to oversee Earth's orbital defense network, stepped forward. The Sentinel system will be fully operational within 2 weeks. Once complete, no ship will be able to approach Earth without our knowledge or permission. And the Prometheus Initiative? Councillor Vasiliev of the European Federation asked. The room grew quiet. The Prometheus Initiative was Earth's most classified and controversial project, a weapon system of such devastating potential that many on the Council had initially voted against its development. Prometheus remains on schedule, Chen answered carefully. The prototype successfully completed its first controlled test last week. The results were impressive. Impressive is hardly the word, Dr. Kenji Takahashi interjected. As the lead physicist on the project, his voice carried significant weight. The energy yield was 30% higher than our theoretical models predicted, if deployed at full capacity against a planetary target. He didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone present understood the implications. Let us hope it never comes to that, Okafor said solemnly. Our warning was clear. Leave us in peace, and peace is what they'll find. But if they choose war, then they will find only annihilation, Hakimi completed. The meeting continued with discussions of resource allocation, civilian reconstruction, efforts, and the integration of adapted alien technology into Earth's infrastructure. Throughout human history, necessity had always driven innovation. Now, with the survival of the species at stake, that innovation was proceeding at an unprecedented pace. Later that evening, Chen found herself standing on the observation deck of Unity Tower, the highest point in the new capital. Below her stretched the lights of the city, a defiant statement of humanity's resilience. Above, the night sky was dotted with the running lights of orbital defense platforms. Beautiful, isn't it? The voice belonged to Dr. Morris, who joined her at the window. Hard to believe that less than a year ago we thought we were alone in the universe. Chen's smile was thin. Sometimes I wish we still were. No, you don't, Morris countered gently. You're too much of a scientist for that. Even with everything that's happened, part of you is still fascinated by what's out there. Chen couldn't deny it. Before the invasion, she had spent nights stargazing, dreaming of first contact. The reality had been a nightmare, but the wonder of the cosmos remained. Have you seen the latest data from the deep space arrays? Morris asked, changing the subject. No. Anything concerning? Not concerning exactly, but interesting. Morris handed her a tablet. We detected a non-meridian ship entering the outer solar system 2 days ago. It's been holding position just beyond Neptune, making no attempt to approach or communicate. Chen studied the readings. Observing us? Almost certainly. The question is, for whom? Morris took back the tablet. The ship configuration doesn't match any of the vessels from the second attack wave. A new player, then. Chen frowned. Have we attempted contact? Not yet. The Council wanted your assessment first. Chen thought for a moment. Keep monitoring, but don't approach or initiate contact. If they're just watching, let them watch. Let them see what we're building. Morris nodded. That's more or less what Hakimi suggested. There's something else, though. She hesitated. The Council has approved the first diplomatic mission. They want to send representatives to neutral territory, a trading hub called Nexus Station. Apparently, it's a gathering point for dozens of species. And they want me to go, Chen guessed, reading Morris's expression. You and a small team. Your background in both science and combat makes you uniquely qualified. Chen turned back to the window, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there was Nexus Station, filled with aliens who might be allies, enemies, or something in between. When do we leave? 1 month. They're preparing a ship now, our first purpose-built interstellar vessel. They're calling it the UES Emissary. Chen nodded, her decision made. I'll be ready. As preparations for the diplomatic mission progressed, Earth's intelligence network, utilizing adapted alien communication systems, continued to monitor transmissions across known space. Most were indecipherable with current translation capabilities, but patterns could still be discerned. Unusual concentrations of signals, sudden silences, increases in encrypted communications. 2 weeks before the emissary's scheduled departure, Chen was summoned to an emergency council session. "We've intercepted concerning transmissions," Okafor informed her without preamble. "A civilization calling themselves the Kraken Imperium appears to be advocating for immediate action against Earth." Hakimi brought up a star chart. "Based on signal tracking, their territory lies here, approximately 40 light-years from Earth. They were not part of either invasion force, but transmission analysis suggests they may have been providing technological support to the Meridians." "What kind of action are they proposing?" Chen asked. Counselor Zhang answered grimly. "Our translators are still working on the details, but certain phrases are clear enough. Human containment, preemptive solution, and most concerningly, Nemesis Protocol. We have no information on what this Nemesis Protocol entails," Okafor added. "But given the context, we must assume it represents a significant threat." Chen studied the star chart. "Has this changed the parameters of my mission?" "Yes and no," Hakimi replied. "The diplomatic mission to Nexus Station proceeds as planned. However, your objectives have expanded. In addition to establishing initial diplomatic contacts, you're now tasked with gathering any and all intelligence regarding the Kraken Imperium and this Nemesis Protocol." "Understood." Chen's mind was already assessing the implications, the potential threats. "Will the emissary be appropriately equipped?" Hakimi's smile was cold. "We're making certain modifications to the original design. The emissary will appear to be a diplomatic vessel, and it is, but it will carry teeth. And Prometheus? The final components are being installed in orbital platform Theta," Okafor answered. "If your mission uncovers an imminent threat and if all diplomatic alternatives have been exhausted, Prometheus will be ready." Chen nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The survival of humanity might depend on what she discovered at Nexus Station. The day of departure arrived with little ceremony. Humanity had learned to save its celebrations for victories, not merely attempts. The UES emissary rose from its construction dock in Earth orbit, a sleek vessel that incorporated the best of human ingenuity and adapted alien technology. On the bridge, Chen took her position alongside Captain Miguel Reyes, a veteran of the Resistance who had commanded one of the few human vessels to survive direct combat with Meridian ships during the first invasion. "All systems nominal," reported Lieutenant Quan from the navigation console. "FTL drive charged and ready." Chen studied the main view screen, which showed Earth receding below them. Despite everything, it remained beautiful. Blue oceans, white clouds, the lights of human civilization shining against the night side of the planet. Around it, the orbital defense platforms maintained their vigilant watch. "Begin final departure checklist," Reyes ordered. "Dr. Morris, how's our communication?" Array? Morris, who had insisted on joining the mission despite the risks, looked up from her station. "Fully operational, Captain. We'll maintain continuous contact with Earth Command until we pass Jupiter's orbit, after which we'll switch to intermittent burst transmissions." Chen turned to the final member of the command team, Dr. Takahashi, who would serve as both science officer and, if needed, weapons specialist. His intimate knowledge of the Prometheus initiative made him invaluable if they encountered anything related to the Nemesis Protocol. "Are we ready for this?" she asked him quietly. Takahashi's expression was somber. "We have to be. The galaxy isn't going to give us a choice." "All stations report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Quan announced. Reyes nodded and took his seat. "Then let's introduce ourselves to the neighborhood. Lieutenant, take us out. Standard acceleration until we clear the defense grid, then prepare for FTL jump." As the emissary accelerated away from Earth, Chen couldn't help but feel they were crossing a threshold, not just of space but of human destiny. For centuries, humanity had looked to the stars with hope and wonder. Now they ventured forth carrying both an olive branch and a sword. 2 days later, as the emissary prepared for its final FTL jump to Nexus Station, Chen received a private transmission from General Hakimi. His expression was grave. Colonel, we've intercepted additional communications regarding the Nemesis protocol. Our analysts have managed a partial translation. Chen felt a chill at his tone. Tell me. The Nemesis protocol appears to be some form of superweapon, possibly capable of targeting specific planetary systems. And, Colonel, Hakimi hesitated. All indications are that Earth is intended to be its first target. Timeline? Unknown. But the frequency of communications suggests development is accelerating. Chen nodded, absorbing this new information. I'll find out more at Nexus Station. Be careful, Colonel. The Kraken Imperium will have agents there. If they identify you as human, I understand the risks, General. Chen's expression hardened with determination. But I also understand what's at stake. As the transmission ended, Chen looked out at the star field visible through the bridge viewport. Somewhere out there, forces were gathering against Earth. Some out of fear, others from opportunism or the simple desire for conquest. They would learn, as the Meridians had learned, that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. They would discover that the species they sought to eliminate had been forged through millions of years of struggle and adaptation. They would find that humans, when facing annihilation, became something else entirely. They would find predators. The emissaries. FTL drive engaged? And the stars stretched into lines as the ship leapt toward its destination and toward humanity's next confrontation with the cosmos. Galactic Politics Nexus Station hung against the backdrop of a binary star system, a massive structure of interconnected rings and spires that rotated slowly to generate artificial gravity. As the emissary approached, Chen stood on the bridge, trying to hide her amazement at the scale of the construction. Dozens of alien vessels of various configurations docked at its outer rings while smaller craft moved between them like insects around a hive. Incoming transmission, Lieutenant Quan announced. Translating now. A voice filled the bridge, the translation software giving it a slightly mechanical cadence. Unidentified vessel, this is Nexus Control. State your species, origin, and purpose. Captain, Reyes glanced at Chen, who nodded. They had prepared for this moment. Nexus Control, this is Captain Miguel Reyes of the United Earthship Emissary. We are a human diplomatic vessel from the Sol system, requesting permission to dock for the purpose of establishing diplomatic relations. A prolonged silence followed. Chen could almost imagine the shock on the other end of the communication. Did they receive our transmission? Reyes asked. Morris checked her instruments. Yes, Captain. They're conferring. Finally, the voice returned. UES Emissary, your request is unprecedented. Stand by for approach vectors. You will be directed to Diplomatic Docking Ring 7. Be advised that security protocols will be strictly enforced. As the communication ended, Reyes raised an eyebrow at Chen. Not exactly a warm welcome. They're afraid, Chen replied simply. We destroyed 2 invasion fleets and sent a message promising annihilation to any who threaten us. I'd be concerned if they weren't cautious. The emissary followed the provided approach vector, passing close enough to other vessels that their alien designs became clearly visible. Some were sleek and organic-looking, others angular and mechanical. All represented civilizations that had achieved interstellar travel, and all, Chen reminded herself, were potential threats or allies. Multiple scanning beams detected, Takahashi reported. Various frequencies. They're very interested in our ship's capabilities. Let them look, Chen decided. The emissary's defensive systems are passive, and our more advanced technologies are shielded against scanning. As they neared their assigned docking port, a smaller vessel approached, taking up position alongside them. Escort ship, Reyes noted. Making sure we don't deviate from our course. Chen nodded. As expected. Remember, everyone, from the moment we dock, assume everything we say and do is being monitored. We're here as diplomats first, but stay alert. The station will be full of species with varying opinions about humanity's place in the galaxy. The docking procedure completed smoothly, the emissary systems interfacing with Nexus stations despite the difference in technological origins. As the airlock pressures equalized, Chen straightened her uniform, a dark blue affair with minimal insignia designed to appear formal but non-threatening. "Ready?" she asked her team. Dr. Morris adjusted the translator device at her collar. As ready as one can be for humanity's first diplomatic contact with a galactic community. The airlock cycled open to reveal 3 aliens waiting in the corridor beyond. The central figure, humanoid but with iridescent blue skin and 4 arms, stepped forward. "I am Liaison Taru of the Ashtari Consensus," it said, its translator rendering its speech into accented but comprehensible English. "I have been assigned to facilitate your introduction to Nexus Station. These are security officers Mrek and Vosh of the Station Authority." The security officers were less humanoid, massive quadrupedal beings with exoskeletons and compound eyes that regarded the humans with unreadable expressions. Chen stepped forward, careful to keep her hands visible. "I am Colonel Sarah Chen, diplomatic representative of Earth. This is Captain Miguel Reyes, commander of the emissary, and our science specialists, Dr. Eliza Morris and Dr. Kenji Takahashi." Taru's upper arms performed a complex gesture that Chen assumed was a greeting. "Your arrival has caused considerable discussion among the station's administrative council. You are the first humans to visit Nexus, but not the first humans you've heard of," Chen observed. "No," Taru confirmed. "The Meridian Collective's misadventure in your system is well known, as is your subsequent warning to the galaxy. If you will follow me. Quarters have been prepared for your delegation. The Administrative Council will convene in 6 standard hours to receive you formally." As they followed Taru through the station's corridors, Chen was acutely aware of the stares from other aliens they passed. Some seemed merely curious, others openly hostile. The diversity of species was staggering, beings of all shapes, sizes, and apparent biologies sharing the same environment, separated by invisible barriers of politics and history that the humans were only beginning to understand. Their assigned quarters were located in a diplomatic section of the station, a suite of rooms that had been hastily adapted for human physiology. The gravity was slightly off, the lighting too blue shifted, and the furniture designed for beings with different proportions, but it was habitable. "I will return when the council is ready to receive you," Taru informed them. "In the meantime, you are free to access public areas of the diplomatic sector, but for your safety, please do not venture into the general station without an escort." After Taru left, Takahashi immediately began scanning the rooms for surveillance devices. "As expected," he reported quietly. "Audio and visual monitoring throughout. Some frequencies our equipment can detect, others probably beyond our current technology." Chen nodded. "We proceed as planned then. Dr. Morris, begin passive data collection through our secure uplink to the emissary. Captain Reyes, maintain a rotation of crew members on the ship. I want it ready for immediate departure if necessary." "And our primary objective?" Takahashi asked. "We gather information," Chen replied. "Particularly anything related to the Kraken, Imperium, or the Nemesis Protocol. But we also begin building relationships. Taru seems receptive. The Ashtari could be potential allies." Morris looked thoughtful. "In my experience, liaison officers are selected precisely because they're diplomatic. We shouldn't assume Taru's attitudes reflect those of the Ashtari as a whole." "Agreed," Chen said. "We proceed carefully. Trust is earned, not given, on both sides." 4 hours later, after settling into their quarters and reviewing protocol briefings, Chen decided to explore the diplomatic sector. With Takahashi accompanying her as both scientist and security, she ventured into the public areas. The central hub of the diplomatic sector was a vast garden space with vegetation from dozens of worlds. Pathways wound between alien flora, and small gatherings of various species conducted quiet conversations in secluded alcoves. "Beautiful," Takahashi murmured, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his security concerns. "Each plant represents evolutionary pathways entirely separate from Earth's." Chen nodded, but her attention was on the diplomatic interactions occurring around them. She noticed how certain species clustered together while avoiding others, the subtle deference, Some showed to particular delegates. The body language even alien physiologies couldn't entirely disguise. "We're being watched," she noted quietly. "Multiple observers," Takahashi confirmed. 2 o'clock, the crystalline being with the hovering drones. 9 o'clock, the group of reptilians. And behind us, trying to appear casual, something that looks like an ambulatory fungus. Chen continued walking, maintaining an unhurried pace. "Let them watch. We're here to be seen as much as to see." They paused by a pool where aquatic creatures that resembled a cross between starfish and octopi performed what appeared to be a choreographed dance beneath the surface. "Colonel Chen," a voice called from nearby. "How fortunate to encounter you here." Chen turned to see Taru approaching, accompanied by another alien, this one tall and insectoid with an exoskeleton that shimmered with metallic hues and compound eyes that reflected light in disorienting patterns. "Liaison Taru," Chen greeted. "We were admiring your station's remarkable biodiversity. Yes, Nexus hosts life from across the explored galaxy." Taru gestured to the insectoid being beside it. "May I present Envoy Zith of the Myriad Collective? The Myriad have expressed particular interest in meeting humans." Chen inclined her head respectfully. "Envoy Zith, it's an honor." The insectoid's translator produced a series of clicks before rendering speech. "The honor is mutual, Colonel. Your species has become quite famous in recent cycles." There was something in the way Zith emphasized famous that put Chen on alert. "We would have preferred a less violent introduction to the galactic community," she replied carefully. "Indeed." Zith's mandibles moved in what might have been amusement. "The Meridian Collective has long been known for their direct approach to resource acquisition. Their encounter with humanity has become something of a cautionary tale. A tale that some refuse to heed," Taru added, with what Chen read as concern. "Colonel, while the Administrative Council will maintain proper diplomatic protocol, you should be aware that several influential factions on Nexus view humanity as a potential threat. We are not the aggressors here," Chen stated firmly. "Earth defended itself against unprovoked